All right. So, how can you achieve a 7 to 9% cap rate in Bahamas real estate? This is tonight's webinar. And we'll give it a few minutes here and then we'll get started.
Awesome. That's a good time to talk about Bahamas. The weather is so, what you may call it, cloudy and gooey. It's better to be in Bahamas and think about that. It's good to be able to jump on a plane. And the good thing with Toronto, you have only like 3 hours away and a straight flight every day. That's fantastic. It's one of the good places to be. When one of the issues with that is always the access. That's why I love Bahamas when it comes to that. Easy access.
Especially if you're Canadian, especially if
Yeah,
you're Toronto, if you're from
especially if
Toronto.
you're from Toronto. It's you have a direct flight every day. WestJet or Canada has it on daily basis, which is good.
What's it, about 3 hours, right?
3 hours straight.
Yeah, it's easy. And
Mm.
if you have money in Canada, if you have money in Toronto, and you want to park it somewhere, if you want to understand the investment angle, this is
Mhm.
what we're going to be going into today. So let's get started. And Let's get started here. So obviously tonight's webinar is about how can you achieve a 7 to 9% cap rate in Bahamas real estate. We're going to get into some numbers, into some of the tax advantages and so on and so forth. Now, who we are. So we're the Zadigan Group. We are a real estate firm, here in Toronto. We help Canadian investors, basically, move up in the property ladder. We help, investors get from 1 to 10 doors in a matter of, 10 years.
Now, with Bahamas is one of the prime destinations when it comes to real estate investment for a few reasons. One of them that we talked about was accessibility, especially for people that they are in Toronto. You want to be able to jump in and jump out when it comes to the access. That's how you end up using it more. The other advantage that Bahamas has is a tax haven. You have zero taxes on all fronts, and so that's what, especially wealthy Canadians, they can take advantage of that. And third is the climate. Yes, this year we have had a fantastic winter. I'm not complaining, but historically, from December till March, April, that's a time that everyone who can afford time wise or money wise wants to escape and go somewhere warm and enjoy the better weather. Especially since COVID, when everyone are able, majority of people are able to work remotely. That's the advantage that it has. Also, working out of an island that gives you everything else and the good weather. Last but not least is the political stability and attractive lifestyle that you will find there. So yes, this is it. So let's go on to next. With
So,
with real estate benefit, let's take it on, Jonathan.
So yeah, so I mean, if we're talking about like the four real, benefits of Bahamas real estate, we're talking about, four things which we're going to dive into here. One is potential for value appreciation. Two is portfolio diversification. So if you're already a Toronto investor, if you're already a Canadian investor, and you understand Canadian real estate, it could be good, to essentially invest, elsewhere, outside of Canada, and diversify that portfolio. Three is going to be opportunity for tax-free revenue, which we're going to get into. And the fourth one is legal tax savings.
The advantages of banking, the good thing is we've got Canadian and American banks besides Bahamian Bank in Bahamas. So it's easy, sometimes even easier to get a mortgage on the property that you want to purchase there with as little as 20% down. Majority of people that buy in Bahamas, they are cash buyers, but the options are there. You would be able to use, the banking system for the financing. Now, with that said, the tax structure that it's done, a lot of people that they buy cash because they want to move their cash also to island in a sense, because like whatever that cash makes money for them, they are tax free. And as far as the estate planning is concerned, is a great avenue to take.
So let's get into some of the advantages, of banking. If you're a Canadian investor, you understand the taxes that go on in Canada. Being in Bahamas, we're talking about four things. One, no rental tax. Essentially income that's coming in, on your rental, you're not taxed on that. No capital gains tax. You get the full value increase over time. If you flip that property for a profit, you don't have to pay tax on it. No income tax. So any income that's earned on Bahamian soil of working there, having a business there, you have no income tax there, and no estate tax. So no property tax, in that sense.
Mind you, one thing I want to mention on that's providing that you take on the option of residency. So a lot of people that they take that and they purchase, not necessarily they proceed with getting residency there because you're still working. But when the time comes and you want to switch to residency, any sales that you do after that will not be subject to taxes. Now, the residence by investment basics. So what it is just there are, when it comes to Bahamas, there are a lot of people that they go there and move in. There is no restrictions. Like when you buy in Florida, quite often we have restrictions on the rentals. You can't have a longer rental period. You can have 1 month or daily period in any of the units that you buy. In Bahamas, you have that ability to rent out. You have no issue. In fact, if you get into the rental pool, government of Bahamas, they will forgive your property taxes for 10 years, which is, you can extend it for an extra 10 years after that. Also, they allow property owners to leverage on the tax benefit that they enjoy at the permanent residency. So if you purchase anything over $750,000 US, you can actually apply to get access for tax benefits, and you will be able to apply for residency. Anything below 750 does not qualify. Now, also, they grant the freedom to enter and exit the country without restrictions or stay during the stay duration. So you have no limitation, like how it is in US when we are selling Florida homes or condos. There are a lot of restrictions. Some condos, the HOA only allows you 6 months rental. Some it's only 1 year rental. Some they have only 3 times a year rental. There are a lot of restrictions. Bahamas, you don't have that problem. And the best part of it is rubbing shoulders with celebrity neighbors. There are a lot of wealthy owners, buyers, visitors that they visit Bahamas. So it's a great way to be part of a different kind of dynamic and different kind of ecosystem, basically.
Yeah, one thing on that front is, if you're if you're a business owner, you understand the power in your network. I mean, people that you meet here alone is worthwhile. Now let's get into we're going to get into some projects. We're going to get into the real estate market and the stability there. So real estate market stability there basically is it's constantly appreciated over the past 30 years. So it's not a market that has fluctuated in growth per se. The political environment obviously provides for a stable economy, which is supporting a lot of investment in Bahamas. Now we're going to get into some projects that we've got, and we can kind of deep dive into that.
Goldwyn is one of the projects that it's a hotel residences. Part of the building is hotel, and the other part is their residences there. Now, the good thing about this project is that you have the ability to basically be in a rental pool. And with being in the rental pool, you save yourself in a sense of the property management. You save yourself from paying the property tax for the next 10 to 20 years. And also you can block off times when you're going there. This is not a timeshare. It's a real estate purchase, but where Goldwyn is situated, you're right by the beach, but also back to beautiful golf course that the scenery is just majestic. So it's very a quaint building. It has dining options there, entertainment options there, and you're right by the beach, so you can never go wrong. And with that said, in terms of the pricing and the rentals that you generate, you have good amount of rentals coming in, which you can, a lot of people that they purchase, they use it when they want to use it, and the revenue that it generates, it actually pays for them when they are there. Now, depending on what type of property you like, some people, they like to be in the crowd. Some other people, they like to be away and private. Brilliant Club is another great residence and marina club that they are, individual homes and townhomes, very secluded and, super, wealthy crowd that they live in that pocket. They have their own marina, and but these are like individual homes, so you don't have as much of traffic. It doesn't have that hotel feeling. Not necessarily you would want to rent out these properties. You could if you ever wanted to, but you gotta hire a separate property management company who runs that program for you, and keep up with everything else in the house. This is more of a cottage lifestyle. If you have to compare it to something in Ontario, this is more of a cottage style, like Muskoka style, that you have marina, you've got your yacht club, and you have the harbor and restaurants and sandy beach. But homes, they are, they have their own privacy. Super wealthy neighborhood, and it's a great place to be.
Maybe we want to talk about some of the numbers here on some of the cap rates that you can get or
Yes.
expect.
So let's say on Goldwyn, typically if you buy a property for, let's say, $750,000, on a $750,000, you can see that the rental per night, they can go anywhere between $600-700 per night. So it can go even as high as $1,500, depending on high season and low season. And when you are part of the hotel will take 30% of the revenue, and they give back 70% of it. That's substantial amount for you to have, on a side, which would not be potentially taxed. And that's the money that you can actually use when you are visiting the place for yourself. So if you're going with a deposit of 20%, mind you, a lot of people, they would want to move more money than 20%. But Scotiabank and RBC are two banks that they are comfortably able to grant mortgages on these properties. And, surprisingly, for the past so many years, Bahamas has been having a steady rate of 4.5% on their mortgage rates. And so it doesn't have the fluctuation as we feel in Toronto or in Canada per se. So we don't go to 1.99 and jumps to 7%. You're steady at 4.5%. Now the amortizations there are very different. You can pick. Some people, they take a 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, but it's not customary to go 25 years. Again, because it's geared to a crowd that they are super wealthy. I would say 70-80% of purchases are done cash, but about 20-30% are done through mortgages. But it's a very straightforward procedure. The banks are somewhat interconnected, and the verification can happen internationally on the assets and the equity that you carry. Units, they do come furnished. So it's a turnkey. You don't need to go through the furnishing of the units, which is fantastic. And a lot of people that they actually buy there, sometimes people say, well, you know what, I don't want to get a 1-bedroom or get a 2-bedroom, but because you're just side by side of the hotel section, if you have guests coming over, you can always book the preferred rate with the hotel. for your guests. So you don't necessarily need to get 2,500 square feet just because you have a bigger family.
And then what are we talking about? Maybe you want to fill everybody in on the vacancy rates and the occupancy rates.
Well, you know what? The hotels typically, their rule of thumb is if we are more than 70, 80% full, we are doing something wrong. And the notion is the rate has to be high enough that you will only be 70, 80% full. But from what I have seen since COVID, they are very, even though the pricing go high a lot of times, but they are really low on vacancy. I would say last, when I was there a couple of months ago, they are like around 90, 95% full. So price has not been able to stop people from visiting Bahamas. It's just because it's super easy to access. It's close, it's a direct flight, and it's everyday flight. So you can, fly in and fly out. And the process of fly in and fly out with the airport, one of the other, the positive notes with Bahamas is just if you arrive in the airport and then you have to, drive for an hour and a half, a lot of people will not do that. Here, you're 15 minutes, you're into the hotel. So it's close. Everything is right on their fingertips. And once you are in the hotel, you not necessarily need to even move out of the hotel, go anywhere else. There are private island options there too. If someone is looking for, you can get as private or as busy as you want. You can choose the lifestyle. There are private islands at Zuma and Albany that you will have single homes in one end of the island that worth 160 million, and the other end of the island will be another $200 million home. So you can get as private as you want. But I think for general public, for someone who wants to have a secondary home somewhere that would be manageable, I think this part of the city in Bahamar would be a nice place. We have also units at Atlantis for sale, and that is in Paradise Island. So depending on what your budget is, what your timeline is, and what kind of home you're looking for, I'm sure we will have a product for you.
It's good to actually paint a picture. Maybe we should paint a picture of a Canadian investor, buying there. What's that typical lifestyle?
The Canadian investors that they buy there you have either excess fund, or you want to expand. Like we believe in diversification. So depending on your budget, the type of people that it just started there with cryptocurrency members that they ended up buying there, and during early COVID. And then it expanded to Tiger Woods having Nexus Club, and going out there, and a lot of tournaments that are happening, conferences are happening in either Bahamar or in Atlantis. And then that brought the idea of remote work. You can stay as little as 4 days or as long as 2 weeks, 3 weeks, but still be able to work because everything is accessible. And so you end up, there are a lot of Canadian, a lot of American, and some European, believe it or not. We saw a lot. There are a lot of Spanish, a lot of people also from Middle East that they have purchased and parked the money there. It's a great place that you have safety, security, and the lifestyle. The lifestyle is very close to our North American lifestyle. One of the other, biggest factor for a lot of people considering Bahamas is a time zone. When you go to other places, like when you go to Hawaii, your times is just, messed up. So you can't, if you're working remotely, you won't be able to keep up because because of the time difference. Bahamas, they have the same time zone as we have in Toronto, so it works perfectly well to carry your lifestyle just in a better weather and by water.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's awesome. So yeah, so I mean, these are obviously some of the projects that are available. There is more, to this. But a key component here, which Ari mentioned, is there's two angles to this, right? One is the lifestyle component of it, and the second angle to it, really it comes down to the return. It's not like you're putting money somewhere that is not giving you any dollar back, and it's only pleasure. This is something that can give you a return on investment, and the excess can be used for your lifestyle there when you want to go and travel.
Mhm. The good thing is quite often some of the projects that we have, it gives you the ability to get discounts on other locations. Again, these are not timeshare, they are real estate ownership. But like, let's say you're in Bahamas and now you want to visit Morocco, you're able to get further discount on some of the properties in Morocco because of your ownership in this bucket. So for more details, if you want to get more information on any specific project or the lifestyle that you have, so we can recommend you the better projects based on your lifestyle, feel free to reach out and we will be happy to see what would be the best match for you. Fantastic. Well, it was great having you guys. Hope it was not, you got enough of knowledge on the market down in Bahamas. And if you have any question, feel free to reach out. Our contact information will be sent out to you, and we're just a phone call away.
100%. If you want to attend any of our next webinars, feel free. We've got a page on our website, the Zadigan Group /webinars and events. You can attend the upcoming webinars that we have going on.
Fantastic.
Thanks, guys, and have a good night.
Thank you. Have a good night, everyone.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.